I love a good troublesome heroine. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm doing another historical romance trope recommendation video. It's a mouthful, but we're here for it today. And this one is a really exciting one. This one is one of my favorite tropes, or at least one of my favorite characters. This one is where our heroine is seeking trouble. Like for some reason, she's always doing things that are unladylike, getting herself in dangerous situations, maybe dabbling into situations that could cause her to have an ill reputation, or even get her into trouble with society and the ton. But then our hero is kind of like the strict, stoic, rule-following person that you can ever see, the grade A citizen who kind of holds her back and pulls her by the collars and tells her to calm down, slow it down, take it easy, and they have a nice balance together, and it's a nice little dynamic. It usually includes very hilarious banter, a lot of eye rolling from the hero, and a lot of, huffing and puffing from our heroine. And I know at times, sometimes our heroine can be a little bit of annoying, but these ones that I'm about to recommend to you, our heroine is actually bright and brilliant, and that they are literally just trying to do as they please and to not follow the strict rules of society. So the first recommendation that I do have for you is from a new to me author called Tracy Warren and her book Tempted by His Kiss. Now this book was really fun. It's especially recommended for you if you like a wintry novel. Our heroine is actually traveling to someone's house, and then she is in a carriage ride, but there is a winter storm happening that makes it really dangerous for her to continue her trip. So she actually stops and she sees like this house slash mansion. So she goes up to it, knocking on the doors, hoping that whoever's living in that house would actually welcome her, to give her a room to stay in and to give her some food to eat. But what she doesn't expect is our grumpy hero, who literally does not care about her and who slams the door in her face. But she manages to convince him that it is very dangerous and that she could die, and he reluctantly lets her inside of his house and into his safe space. And that's where they kind of grow to know each other, and a fake relationship also develops when certain nosy neighbors actually come into his house. During her stay there, she develops this fake relationship, and unfortunately for her too as well, she's dragged into his family's shenanigans. And then she also learns that our hero actually comes from a very dark past involving espionage and going into different countries where torture actually happened and where he actually lost someone that he truly cared about and that he loved. So now she wants to help him, obviously, because she's starting to grow feelings for him. So she finds herself getting into trouble a lot of the times because she realizes that the villain is closing in, and she wants to catch the villain in the act, get as much evidence as she can, even though our hero tells her that it's too dangerous and that she might actually die. So the next book that I want to recommend to you is actually a group read that we recently did for our recent historical romance readathon that was hosted with my friends Lacey and Jessica. Now the group read was actually Olivia and the Masked Duke by Grace Calloway. It was not my first Grace Calloway novel because I read her other series ahead of the readathon just because I was really excited for Grace's novel. This one definitely did not disappoint. This one is a childhood kind of friends to lovers romance. Our heroine is actually a lot younger than our hero, but our hero has actually watched her grow up. I know it sounds weird, and I know it sounds like there might be grooming involved, but there is definitely no grooming. It's very natural. He is obviously not attracted to her until she grows of age and that she is a consenting adult. But basically our heroine has always been very curious in nature, and she and her friends actually cause a lot of trouble because they're always sneaking around, doing unladylike things, and even getting kicked out of certain boarding schools for ladies. And now our heroine has been caught up in this new club where it's kind of like Charlie's Angels, where a bunch of females gather around and have cases to solve. And they're like Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and they go around the city gathering evidence, gathering clues to solve mysteries for female clientele. And our hero is actually kind of like a hero. He wears a mask and he goes about to solve crime and mystery in the city. But since he is a man, he can handle the rougher things. He can protect himself, he can fight. But our female heroines are definitely not anything different from the male heroes just because they are smaller and a little bit more fragile. They definitely learn how to fight and they know how to use their skills to their advantage to solve crimes and mysteries. I really like this one because our hero is clearly very protective of our heroine and doesn't want her sneaking around and biting too much that she can't chew and ultimately getting herself into trouble that could cause her death. So this one was really fun too as well, where we have a push and pull relationship where our hero kind of gives ultimatums to our heroine that she needs to stop her business, and she's standing up for herself and being a very feminist heroine as well. Now the next book recommendation that I have for you is one that I have talked about in some of my videos before and also on my channel. This one's called Guarding a Notorious Lady by Olivia Parker. This one is about our heroine who always loves juicy gossip, and she's always like sneaking around trying to see what kind of tidbits of information that she can gather around the whole dance floor and then using it for her advantages of, you know, trying to matchmake and try to do little crazy things like that, trying to save ladies from, you know, notorious rape. So our heroine actually has an older brother, and her older brother has actually enlisted the help of his best friend and trusted friend and comrade to help guard her and to help make sure that she doesn't get herself into more trouble than she is already doing, because soon she's going to ruin her reputation and then she can't find someone that will want to actually marry her. So now this is kind of like enemies to lovers romance as well. It's a brother's best friend trope, and it's just so splendid and it was so cute because our heroine was just so mischievous. Now, if you're looking for another heroine who kind of gets herself into trouble by doing things the way that she wants to do it because she wants to pursue her passions, then this one is for you. This one is actually called Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas, and now everybody has really liked this one because apparently the hero, Derek, is one of the most sought out heroes of historical romance genre. Everybody really liked this book. I liked it too as well. I enjoyed it. And this one involves our heroine who's actually writing a novel. And in order for her to really understand her characters and understand the storyline, she actually pretends to be like someone that she is not. And she goes into these gambling dens, gets into like the conversations with people that are lower class than her, and have all these like relationships, and sometimes even causing fights to happen in the gambling dens and also in the pubs that she frequently visits for more information to write her book. And then there she meets our hero, who kind of stumbles upon her when he gets caught up in a fight, and she is taken aback by how charming and handsome he is, and he doesn't want anything to do with her, but he realizes that if he doesn't come and protect her, she's going to get herself into more trouble that she can handle. And if you're looking for another brother's best friend trope, or enemies to lovers trope, or even just childhood friends to lovers trope, then the next one is for you. I've talked about this book a lot in a lot of my videos too as well, but I can't stop gushing about it because it's just so good. This one's called For the Duke's Eyes Only by Lenora Bell. This involves our heroine who is actually really smart. She's an archaeologist, I believe, and she dresses up as a male to frequently visit these like auctions slash like museums slash research like focusing conferences so that she could learn more about what she's passionate about, which is archaeology. And she's getting away with it until she realizes that she caught the attention of her older brother's best friend, and her older brother's best friend actually sees right through her disguise, and now he has cornered her in this room and he demands to know why she is putting her reputation on the line to learn more about artifacts. And so he's just kind of like flabbergasted that she would be doing this, and meanwhile she's annoyed that he is there at the auctions because he has this reputation now that he bids on these things only to sell it for a profit and to not really appreciate the history behind these artifacts. But in reality, what actually is happening is that our hero is an undercover spy, and he was sent by the crown to try to figure out what was actually happening at these auctions and what was happening with these artifacts. There's mystery and adventure, and our heroine can't stop herself from going into this adventure and try to seek out all the answers. And our hero begrudgingly has to follow her and make sure that she is safe. And if you're looking for another spy romance, the next one is definitely for you too as well. This one's called While You Were Spying by Shana Galen. Now, I actually haven't read this book yet, but I have read a lot of Shana Galen novels recently, and I loved her writing. I feel like this one is definitely for me too as well, and I'm probably going to give it a high rating. But this one is about our heroine and our hero who've met way before, and they did not have a really great meeting. He actually humiliated her, and she is left embarrassed, and now she sees him again and she's willing to enact revenge to kind of stop him from having happiness. So what really is happening is now our hero is back into the small town that he was once in where he met her, and he can't get away from her because she is causing a lot of trouble, and he needs to protect her because she's putting herself in literal danger. But he is also an undercover spy, and he needs to complete his mission. But she is just literally always, being in the way kind of thing, getting into trouble and him having to protect her. So it always derails him from the mission. And of course, the villains will always come and try to take her away from him. And the next one that I have for you is actually one of my favorites, and I'm sure it's been talked a lot about here on BookTube and also on my channel. Next one is from the queen of historical romances herself, which is Julia Quinn. This one's called What Happens in London, and this one involves our heroine who is very nosy, and she actually looks into her neighbor's room all the time, and she has a very wild imagination, and she thinks our hero is actually a villain to the country, and that he is a traitor, and he's going to gather all the secrets and intel he can to really take down England. But what actually happens is that our hero is actually on England's side, and that he actually works for the War Office, and he's actually just doing a very boring admin job where he's just translating documents because he's really smart and he knows a lot of languages. But that definitely doesn't stop him from pretending that he is a villain and that he has many secrets to hide just so that he can play with her emotions and her feelings. But if you want a heroine who is very nosy and a hero who is, fun and vibrant around our heroine only, but stoic and very serious to others, then this one is definitely for you. Now, the last book recommendation that I do have for you is, of course, one of my favorite novels ever, and I've talked about it a lot on my channel, but I thought I would just throw it in here anyways because I would do the book injustice and people will question me why I didn't include it. But this one's called Do You Want to Start a Scandal by Tessa Dare, and involves our hero and heroine actually getting into trouble themselves and into hot water at a house party, and now people think that they are together. They are embroiled in a scandal, and now they're being forced to wed. So she is not happy with this because she is an independent woman. But this one is basically about our hero and heroine being caught up in a scandal because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were basically in the library, I believe, where they were chatting, and then somebody also comes in. Another couple actually comes in, and they are forced to hide because they don't want people to think that they're doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, so they hide. But then to their shock, they realize that the couple that just came in are also doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and then they leave. And then everybody rushes into the room because they hear all this noise and commotion that was happening when this mysterious couple was coupling, and they spot our hero and heroine. And now they think that our hero and heroine was actually doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing, and now they're forcing them to get married. Our heroine does not want to get married, obviously, so she sets out to find out who the original couple was actually. But anyways, that is it for all my recommendations for the book Trope, where our heroine is very mischievous, she's causing a lot of trouble, and our hero kind of following her very closely and making sure that she doesn't get herself caught up in any trouble that can harm her or to cause any scandals to ruin her reputation. Hopefully you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys again next time with a new one. Bye!